Hey everybody, Tim back again. Trying not to touch my glasses. Alright, I'll do it. So, I'm back again for another contest entry. And this one is to support the amazing, the almighty, the incredible Jeff Kempin. He just hit his 300th subscriber. Congratulations, Jeff. You're going to hit 3,000 and then beyond before everything's said and done. You have an amazing channel. You show a lot of really great things, amazing taste, very well spoken. So, sky's the limit with you. So, I'm here to support Jeff. And on the off chance that you are watching this and you don't know who I'm speaking of, there will be a link down below. Please check him out. He shows amazing stuff. He's heavily blue. As I learn how to talk for the very first time, once again, he is heavily into the blues, and he shows a lot of great blues records. So he's also classic rock oriented as well. So definitely worth checking out the channel. Give you some different insight on some stuff. So he wanted to keep his contest pretty basic. In celebration of 300 subscribers, we've got 3 questions: 1, 2, and 3. I've learned the count, and I'm very happy. First question. Excuse me. Apparently, I should not have had that diet beverage off camera before I started this, and I believe in one takes. Show an album that is your favorite, or one of your favorite debut albums. So I'm going to show this one. This is DJ Shadow. And DJ Shadow, this is his first major release. He did a couple of 12-inch singles beforehand, but this is his first major full-length album. And this is called Introducing. And the reason why I love this so much is this album came out in a time when I needed it. I was going through a lot of personal stuff. And let's just say that life was going to change. And did what I usually do when time like that happens. I turn to music, and I happened to be walking through a record store one day and saw the CD, and I saw the cover, and I was just like, what's that? And if you've watched my channel, you know I listen to all different types of music, so the fact that it was a DJ record didn't put me off. I hit play and I instantly fell in love. DJ Shadow, for those of you who may not know, is a master sampler, producer, and he does it in his own style. He doesn't look for the typical, what they would call a break in a record, and just loop it over and over again to create a beat for some rapper to do his thing on, which he can do, but even then it has a very unique touch. He believes in looking at the off the beaten path record. In fact, most of his album, the Introducing, this is actually, and if this was original press, I think it's a gatefold. I could open it up. This is actually a record store in his town of Davis, California, and almost all of the albums that were used in the sampling and creation of this albums and N45 almost exclusively came from not just the store, but even the basement of the store, where he knew the owner very, very well. He samples the offbeat. He samples the not the usual, breaks that you would use in hip hop. And as much as this is a hip hop album, it's almost considered the godfather of trip hop. It's very psychedelic at times. It's very heavy at times. It's very haunting, is a word I've used as well at times. Completely instrumental. I believe it was actually featured in the Guinness Book of World Records as the first album to be made exclusively from sampled material. I know that can be a touchy subject in the VC because music is live and things like that, but from considering the art form, it was a major push forward. He's very talented. He has a great ear, and he did it at a time where sampling may have been considered going out the window or things like that. So this stands as a classic album in the instrumental or the electronic world, and it's still very, very revolutionary, and he does his best to reinvent himself with every album. To me, it's still probably his best work. He's done some amazing other things, but I have found that this probably is one of his more accessible albums for a lot of people on a lot of different levels. So if you're what I sound has kind of resonated a mark, check it out. It's online, I'm sure. You can stream it on a lot of different places. You may hear some stuff that sounds a little interesting. You may find some stuff that doesn't really sit with you. Either way, that's fine. But to me, this came at the perfect time, and I could not stop spinning it. There are amazing debut albums. Please Please Me comes to mind with the Beatles, and Are You Experienced from Hendrix, and Piper at the Gates of Dawn from Floyd, and the list goes on and on. But this was one of the first ones that I truly discovered. And it wasn't like I went back and found it because I had heard something from that artist and, wanted to kind of go backwards. But this was one that I truly found. So that's why it sticks with me. The second question is, what was a tough get? An album you've been looking for, an album in the wild, you've been outbid on eBay, you've gone, and every time you go to the record store, you go to that section and it's not there. Or, maybe it is there and it's like, you want how much for that condition? That's not, no. And we've been there, right? You've had that album that you've wanted, that you've had your heart set on. If they have it, I'm going to buy it, and you pull it and they want $70 and you go, no, not in this condition for $70. It better be sealed. When I slice it, the angels should come about, whatever the case may be. So my toughest get, and on and off for years, have looked for this thing, and I actually got it yesterday. So if you saw my video, spoilers, you know what I'm going to show. So this is obviously it's not the actual cover. I'll get in real nice and close there for you. This is Eddie Hazel's Games, Names, and Guitar Things. Eddie Hazel was the guitarist for Funkadelic. If you saw my video about my VCLT from Horror Biz Chad, you heard me speak with this. Eddie Hazel was probably the closest thing we had to Hendrix after Hendrix died in the 70s, with that marriage of funk and soul and hard, heavy rock. Excuse me. Cheers, VC. My foot was about ready to give out again. So he left Funkadelic and did his own thing. And Clinton actually wrote a couple songs on this. There's a couple covers, which I highly recommend. The cover for I Want You, She's So Heavy by the Beatles, very trippy. And the cover of California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas. This is soulful, it's funky, it's psychedelic, and it's rock. And that's a tough pull to bring all of that together, and Eddie Hazel did it flawlessly. It is sad that he was taken from us way too soon. What he could have done in the genre could have been epic. Beyond just the epicness. And like I said, this isn't even like it's missing the cover, and I don't care because this album is incredible. This one is probably sneaking its way very quickly back into my top 20, if not top 10. So if I ever do that set, it will be seen again. Because it's that good. He's that talented. He can shred. It's like he sees a blueprint and he knows exactly what to play, and it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect for the song and for the tone. And if you have an interest in Parliament and Funkadelic infused rock with a psychedelic edge, you need to stream this album. You will not be disappointed. And for me, looking for it all the time, I look for it on CD when I was collecting some heavier on CDs. Couldn't find it. Back when I first knew about it, back when I first knew about it, a neighbor of mine had it, and I was like, look, dude, I will give you money right now. Your cover is beat. I don't care. I want this album. I can't find it. And he's like, no way. It ain't happening, kid. I didn't see it. I look online, question the condition. I've had this for about 24 hours, and I've already spun it 4 times. I should tell you how much I love it and how much I am thankful for having it. So lastly was name an album that you love that's maybe outside of your genre. Now, my genres run the gambit. I'm heavily into rock and soul. And when I say rock, I mean we'll cover the 70s, 60s, and 70s classic rock. We'll cover psych rock and garage rock. We'll go into metal and thrash, punk. Oh, I love all that stuff. Soul, I love 60s and 70s R&B and soul, even broken out by territories with northern soul and southern soul. I love all that stuff. I'm a huge hip hop fan, so I've got that covered. I'm getting into jazz, and I'm starting to learn a lot. So I can't feel like, I mean, even though I'm a novice at jazz, I feel like I'm learning a lot more. So I would say that that's a section I regularly check when I walk into a record store now. So the genre of music, I know words. I really do. Sometimes I'm even articulate. The genre that I probably am weakest in, that I listen to, is classical. And I really couldn't pick an album, although there was probably one of these as my favorite of the three. But one of my favorite classical pieces, and it's been that way since a kid, is Rhapsody in Blue. George Gershwin, Ira Gershwin, they did a fantastic job with that piece. So I actually have 3 different LPs, of which I have Rhapsody in Blue. Now this is Levant. Oscar Levant plays the piano. This is him playing it, and does a couple of other pieces as well. So this one is, and I'm going to butcher the orchestra, but Andre Previn. This is his version. Oh, and I'm so sorry, it's still in the shrink wrap. And this is both of these are Columbia pressings, and so is the next one. So this is a good one, but probably my favorite is actually conducted by Leonard Bernstein. And if you want to take a look there, look how young he is. This is a mid-50s pressing of this album. I think it's actually an original pressing too. I'm thinking it came out in like 56 or 57. Absolutely love it. This was one of the pieces, and it's classical, but it's got elements of jazz. When my great uncle was trying to bend my ear towards classical and jazz, he would play different things and would say, like, okay, this is, Coltrane, or this is Miles Davis, or this is Bach and Beethoven. And when he played, and I really wish I could remember which one he played for me. Like I said, I was a kid, like 7 or 8 maybe. He played Rhapsody in Blue, and it struck a chord. From that opening oboe to just the themes of it, it really just it pulled right on my ears, and I've loved it ever since. And you get reminded of it every so often with airline commercials or whoever. But it really is one of my favorite pieces of classical music. So when I run across these, if I don't, if it's a version I don't already have, especially if it's on the cheap, I'm definitely picking it up, because I'm always interested to hear what somebody may or will do with it and things like that. Because at this point, it's all interpretation. So that would be my choice. Would be Rhapsody in Blue. Of the 3 that I've shown, probably Leonard Bernstein is my favorite that I have. I've heard really good ones as well, but I don't love them. So that's my entry. Short, sweet, to the point. Maybe not short, because I like to talk a lot. But Jeff, you have a phenomenal channel, and I really enjoy watching. Love all your features. I love that you take time to show us actually what you're playing. It's awesome that we get to buy these, but sometimes it's important that hey, I get to spend this, and here's my thoughts on it. And maybe you've revisited something you haven't heard in a while. So again, if you're not familiar with Jeff's channel, you really should. He is a great member of the VC, a great addition to have, and his channel is just fantastic. Lots of great content. He's constantly trying to keep everybody informed of what he's doing in the VC and how it's affecting his collection. So I think it's really important. So I'll make sure I leave a link down below for Jeff. Jeff, thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Take care. We'll talk.